I've tried writing this script a couple times, and it's been continuously hard for me to find the right words to talk about this. I keep trying to write it in a way that appeases the algorithm, play it to a YouTube meta type way, but that really isn't what this video is about, so hopefully this will work better. Technoblade was a really big creator that made a lot of funny and well-written Minecraft videos up until June of 2022, when the cancer he was diagnosed with finally caught up to him and he sadly passed away. I don't think I have to explain much more than that. Most people know who he is by now, and it kinda drags on if I do. Technoblade was a really important creator to me for a lot of reasons, but with me making content consistently now, and with me wanting to make a video like this for the past 2 years, I figure it's a good time to talk about my story with Techno. But the story of how I found him and continued to be a fan of his is really important to me, since without him, I wouldn't have made nearly as many friends or had such an ambition for Minecraft content on YouTube, and it's all that I want to talk about today. So, this story goes back to around December of 2020. An old friend of mine sent me a DM containing a link to one of Techno's videos. Grown man stabs children in bed wars while talking about soap. Like, even just looking at the title, I was exasperated. But watching the video itself threw me for a major loop. It was literally just him playing Bed Wars, going on a pure ADHD-fueled rant about his soapbox, while obliterating everyone in his path. At the time, it was an incredible thing to see, given that there weren't a lot of people who no-lifed games until they were the best of the best, and I became a fan of his right away after that. Through Techno, I found the Dream SMP, which, although being a very contentious topic nowadays, was really cool to be a viewer of at the time. I found some of my favorite creators in the YouTube space, I got visions of what Minecraft content had the possibility of being for the future. I was inspired by it enough so that I tried to make my own content back then, albeit they were awful, and I highly recommend that no one watches any of the videos that I made. After a while of being a fan of the guy, I saw that he was on an Origins SMP, which was something I'd never seen before, so I did some searching and found a small Origins server that I could play on and have fun with. And this is a bit of a tangent, but I promise that this is important. This server was called the Circle SMP. It was a small, localized Minecraft server with usually never more than 10 people on at peak times, but it was a tight-knit community of people that all liked the same things, and I fit right in. It was on that server that I grew a bit of a reputation. I had gotten to the point where I damn near idolized Techno, right? Like, saw him as the kind of Minecraft player that I wanted to be. Insanely skilled, witty, funny, you get the point. I was watching him so much that I subconsciously started to adopt his jokes and mannerisms, and not in a funny, original way, more of a shitty copy-paste way. So, on that server, I was infamous for being our mini Technoblade, the kind of knockoff version you'd find on Temu. I loved Techno's stuff, and it was evident to the people around me. After that, a few years passed. The Dream SMP kind of fell apart at the seams, as did our beloved Circle SMP for similar reasons. Not the controversial kind, the personality conflict kind. A couple people from that server stuck around with me, or vice versa, it kinda depends who you ask. Even though we met through chance back then, we're still great friends to this day, and they even occasionally appear in videos of mine. Were it not for Techno being a part of that Origins SMP, I likely never would have met them. As the years went by, things were shaky. He got his cancer diagnosis, made a couple videos, but he was doing alright. Things were gonna turn out okay. I had absolute faith. And then, June 30th, 2022. The day everything happened. I don't remember what game I was playing or what I was doing, but I was in a Discord call with a couple friends from that server I mentioned. We were having fun, doing our things, when my friend Rio joined the call. He called me out directly, saying that something happened to that YouTuber I act like a lot. My mind immediately shot into panic mode, but I googled to see if he was okay, and nothing was out of the ordinary. No news coverage, no info paragraphs on the search page, even Wikipedia didn't say anything, and those guys are usually pretty quick. So maybe my panic wasn't warranted. Things are fine, right? And then I saw my phone lit up from a YouTube notification, from who else but Techno. The title, the thumbnail, you knew what happened before you even clicked on it. So I deafened on Discord, pulled up the video on my computer, and hit play. I am neither too ashamed nor too prideful to admit that I cried hard that night. I'd never experienced grief of this magnitude before, And it was worse still because it felt unwarranted in a sense. Because in my head, I thought the normal society reaction would just be, oh, boo-hoo, someone on the internet passed away, you didn't know them. But I felt like I did. Someone I had cared about, even from just behind a screen, was now gone forever, and I didn't know how to handle that. By the time I undeafened, my friends had all seen the video or heard the news. I remember checking Hypixel after that to see what was going on there, and most of Skyblock was writing pig pets as a form of memoriam before the admins put out his memorial in the hub. We were all reminiscing on memories of Techno, things he'd accomplished, funny bits he'd committed to, but there was something that always stuck with us that night. What if it was a joke? That sounds like a Techno thing to do, right? But we all knew in the back of our minds that it wasn't. As far as I was concerned, no father would cry tears like that if it wasn't real. Something that I vividly remember to this day was something that happened after I went AFK for a couple minutes. I went to grab a drink of water and realized that I didn't know how to explain it to my family. My eyes were red and puffy, like it was obvious that I was crying. But for them, the closest thing I felt I could compare it to was if a popular celebrity or actor had passed, but I kept feeling like how incredibly sad I wasn't warranted. I just kept my head down as I grabbed my water, but when I went back to my room, my grandmother noticed how I looked and asked what was wrong. I ended up telling her that a friend I knew online had passed away, to which she effectively brushed me off and told me to go talk to my dad about it. Regardless about how you feel about that interaction, there's always something about how I told her that's bugged me. I said that a friend of mine passed, which isn't true. I never interacted with Techno directly in any way, shape, or form. I only ever hopped onto streams sometimes to spam one of us in his chat, and as far as I'm concerned, he never knew I existed. Yet, friend was the word I chose. And with hindsight in mind, it kind of makes sense after all this time. Like I mentioned before, I'd never experienced grief of this magnitude. The closest thing I had was losing my uncle when I was 7, but I still didn't know him all that well. Techno was a person that I had come to care about a lot over a few years, and it's hard to describe how I felt without coming off as incredibly parasocial, but it felt like a friend of mine online had passed, like someone who could cheer me up on hard days, and someone who could lift the good days even higher. But again, I never knew him personally, so it just felt unjustified to be upset over him, which took me a long time to figure out. What I want to remind everyone of watching this video is that grieving over someone you didn't know personally, whether it be a friend of a friend or a popular celebrity or anything in between, is completely okay. Never tell yourself that it's irrational or not understandable to be upset over the passing of another person, no matter how large or little. To have grieved deeply is to have loved fully. And make no mistake, Techno, all 20 million of us loved you. Rest in power, Blade. Your legend will never be forgotten. Thank you guys for watching. This is something that I've been meaning to make for a long time, but I never had the motivation or proper reasoning to actually create, so I'm happy to finally get it done. Very important to mention, as of this upload, I'm currently not monetized. Like, I don't even have channel members, but when I do finally become monetized, I will donate every single penny this video makes to the Sarcoma Foundation of America. And because I don't have access to the donation window that everyone else uses, links to the SFA and all of Techno's merch stuff will be in the description. Thank you to my singular patron. I hate you so much, Blue. Consider subscribing and joining my Discord. Take care.